Checking out some Atari stuff. I'm going to do the review of the Atari 7800 Pro system. It's my one of my favorite systems. I love arcade games. I love anything that claims to be arcade perfect as well. This is kind of an underrated console, Atari's 8-bit system that nobody really appreciated. You know, it didn't get the recognition I think it deserves back in the day, especially. Very underappreciated system, and there's a few reasons why. Before I get started in the review, though, I want to tell my new subscribers how I do my reviews. This is totally unscripted, right off the top of my head. So take the facts not as facts, it's just opinion and not facts, because some things, you know, I'm not going to remember precisely. But these are all unedited. I think they're, or not unedited, unscripted, and I think they're funner that way. You get to see it's really me. You get to see the outtakes as they happen, like the one that just happened, and I think it's a more personal feel. So let's check out this Atari 7800 zoom in. This is the Pro system. Now, Atari was working on an 8-bit system to predecess the Atari 5200. Their 7800 Pro system in the 80s, and then the video game crash happened, so they kind of put it on the shelf. After Nintendo came back with their Nintendo NES and it did very well, Atari thought we would throw the system out again. But at that time it was kind of a lame duck. It was already, the hardware inside was already a few years old, which made a very advanced system when it was made really limited at release. Let's check it out. Atari, let's see, had some pretty cool devices during this time they were releasing. They released the Lynx to compete with the Nintendo's Game Boy. And this was another system that was underrated and ahead of its time. I'll show you how it works, but it takes a lot of batteries. Have the battery door off to show you. It takes a zillion batteries, and I don't have any right now. So, but really cool. Some games operated up like this, like the arcade style. Others, you could flip it right and lefties, and this was a full color. I think it was 16-bit. I think the specs were more impressive than the 7800 if I remember correct. But very beautiful, backlit, full color games is what you got. On the downside, which made that and the Game Gear unpopular, is they were very bulky and they sucked down batteries compared to the Game Boy, which was cheaper at cost, and you could throw 4 batteries in and they'd last forever. Some of the packaging for these games. Here's Xevious, and it's 8-bit. If you want to check out the screenshot, and I'll show you guys some gameplay on the packaging. See the graphics, and here's it compared to the NES Xevious. So you can tell just right from that screenshot that the NES delivered higher quality graphics, but that doesn't mean the 7800 was a bad system. I think it's pretty awesome. Let's get in here. You got your power, pause, select and reset, then your different modes and difficulties and controllers there. 2 controller ports right off the front. Very good looking. Basic hookups in the back. Nice Pro metal finish. Then your cartridge slot. Another thing that makes the system very appealing today is that it can play all the 2600 games. All your favorite 2600 titles, such as Congo Bongo by Sega, just fit right in. And they play as normal, so that triples your library. There's very good games, very, very good games for low cost for the 7800. Here's Joust. I got that sealed for less than it costs loose. And then Robotron 2084, which is my favorite game. When I show you gameplay, I wanted to show you gameplay of Robotron and Centipede, maybe Miss Pac-Man. You can get all kinds of games for cheap. I'm bidding on a game for like $5 right now. They're pennies on a dollar and really fun to collect for. I love arcade games. Definitely think this is one of the cooler systems. So let's go like this. Excuse me. Excuse my ignorant filming. We're going to check out my Sharp old school TV. And let's stick in Atari 2600 game first. Congo Bongo. Now the controllers, as you can see, are pretty crazy looking, like a box, and they don't work much better. Has the metal finish. These are some pretty awful controllers, but they're not as bad as they get a rap for. This does work with the 2600 controllers and the Genesis controllers, but some 7800 games require the 2 buttons, so they even, you know, it gives you problems there. But for the most part, you can use a Genesis or a 2600 controller and it's going to be compatible with all the games. So, some Congo Bongo on the 2600. I already died. I'm not very good at the 2600 port of this game. Can't really tell what I'm doing. But I've never been really interested in collecting for the 2600, so having the 7800 is pretty darn cool because I can get a couple of those Sega titles and some other titles, Activision titles that I've wanted to play for a while. I can get those on the 2600 and not have to have that system. I do have a 2600, ironically. I fell in love with the Darth Vader model and got one out of a trash can at a video game store. There was a bunch of Ataris in the garbage and Xboxes, and took them all home and they all worked. They only had like cosmetic issues, which I fixed pretty well, so I thought that was pretty cool. Let's check out some 7800 games. Miss Pac-Man 2 is great on the 7800, worlds better than the 2600 port. Of course, it's not arcade perfect. It's called the Pro System with the experts train on and stuff they used, and that's why I really wanted it. I was like, whoa, I could get so much better. It's like having an arcade at home. You know, I'm kind of disappointed when you get it home. I finally got one of these later in life, and got it out of a trade from a great YouTuber, Pirate, on YouTube. We did a trade for it, for a Sega Saturn, and great trade. It was missing the power cord, which I did not know they were so rare. So if you get these, make sure they have at least the power cord. It costs a lot of money, so I shelled out 20 bucks, bought one on eBay, and then I find one at the game store weeks later, titled as a 2600, and for 5 bucks. But nice guy I am, they had a 7800 they couldn't sell because they couldn't find a rare power cord, and I helped them out and showed them where it was instead of buying it myself so somebody else could have a 7800 cord. Even though the smart thing would do is have it as a backup, but I know that they couldn't sell the 7800 because they didn't have a cord and the boss wasn't going to order one because it was $20, so make the cost of the system go crazy. Alright. Let me put in the Centipede now, one of my favorite 7800 games. Such great games. Now there's not as many. Let me fix this cord so the screen's better. You can go in and adjust your color on these old sharps and make it brighter, darker, if you wanted to. Centipede. Pretty early in the morning is my excuse for sucking total butt right now. I'm not very good. Yeah, I said I was sucking butt. Anyways, you get the drift. It's just to show you some gameplay. 78. It's, you know, Centipede on the 7800 looks like Centipede, you know. On the 2600, some of the games, even though Centipede's one of the better ones, don't look like they're supposed to look. I mean, have you tried Donkey Kong on this 2600? It's crazy. So there it is. Go back down. Sorry about my gorilla crazy filming. Just getting used to this. I was never much of a filmmaker. I just love video games and love sharing them with you guys. Let's see. I'll throw in one more game, I guess. We can check out one more game. Let's check out Zevia since it's right here. And a lot of people are familiar with it, and this is one of the more graphically impressive 7800 games. Now, it's no ball blazer, and it's not like the Zevious on the NES, it's not as good as that. But it's not bad either. I can tell it's ZVS. It's a shoot 'em up. It's good times. And I'll leave you with this. The 7800 is a great system. You can find it for around $50. Just make sure you have the cord. The hardware is the most expensive part. Once you get the hardware, you're going to find games for pennies on the dollar. There are rare games. There's a port of Double Dragon, believe it or not, and it's one of the rare games. But even the rare games can be found for about $100, so you're not looking at thousands of dollars to complete your collection. You could probably complete a 7800 collection on a $500 budget. Over a 5-year period if you wanted to. So it's not a costly system. It's not like collecting for some of the arcade perfect systems like the Neo Geo or the Saturn. Of course your shoot 'em ups are not going to be the quality of Neo Geo or Saturn or anything, and to say this is arcade perfect is, you know, I don't know if the pros would be using this to train when the NES is on the market. I think that they would be using the NES or tabletop arcades or going to the arcade, but nice little gimmick to sell their systems, and it's a nice little system, fully backwards compatible. Something that I would pick up if you were interested, especially if you're kind of interested in 2600 or really interested in 2600, but you wanted to get a little bit more. You wanted some games that were a little bit better graphically and funner to play, but you want to try some of those classic 2600 games like Kangaroo and stuff that people talk about all the time. Maybe the 7800 is a good choice for you. This video went over. I got unlimited time on my channel, but still I like to keep them around 10-15 minutes on reviews, so it's going a little bit over the 10-minute mark, and I'm just kind of rambling and gabbing about the 7800 because I love it. I'm going to go play some other games on it while it's hooked up and enjoy it. You guys have a great day.